So let's take a look at Key Stage 3, where we believe that many of the problems actually lie. Not in every school, and you can't generalize here, and I'm not going to try and generalize, but I feel that as a community, what we've slipped into in some cases is timetable carousels dictating 6-week blocks where it is 6 weeks of food, then 6 weeks of textiles, then 6 weeks of resistant materials, and 6 weeks of graphics, 6 weeks of whatever it might be. And we've dropped into compliance with that timetable structure, and we have allowed ourselves as a subject to focus too much on the outcomes and not enough on the process. And these blocks of time can reinforce, they can become barriers to learning. They compartmentalize the subject into false sectors, and they can stifle innovation. And there is no reason at all. And I do know I have written timetables, and I've been guilty of setting those structures out, because when you're writing a timetable, it's a complex thing to do. What you try and do is make it as easy as you can for yourself, while at the same time making it as functional as possible out there in the school, in the classrooms. However, sometimes you have to compromise as the timetabler, and you have to cut corners in order to make it work. And we have to argue for what we need best in order to teach the best quality of subject that we want. Now, for a start, that 6 weeks can be broken into 2-week blocks. It can be broken into 2 3-week blocks. It can be, we don't have to teach whole 6-week blocks all the way through. That's stating the obvious, I know, but it's rare, and I get into a lot of schools, we get into a lot of schools collectively, and we see this compliance where it's textiles, it's food, it's whatever it might be. Teacher expertise is another issue with Key Stage 3 at the moment, where that isn't there. Where there is expertise in the schools, it's going to Key Stage 4, it's going to Key Stage 5, and at Key Stage 3 quite often it will be the non-experts that are teaching the subject, and that means naturally that they teach to where their strengths are, where they're comfortable. And that means that we have a predominantly wood-led environment, where wood is the predominant material used at Key Stage 3. And to be facetious for a minute, and I am being facetious for the sake of making a point, we make boxes and we laser cut a top for it, and we say that that's progress. It's not. It's just not enough. And a fixation on the end product, and like the things that I've heard constantly is, that the students like to take something home. Well, they don't take something home from maths, they don't take something home from geography, they don't take something home from history. Why are we obsessed with allowing them at the end of every project? I don't even like using that word project, because that word suggests that you're running all the way through a design process from start to finish, which you don't have to. So that fixation on the end product is something that Ofsted have commented on, where quite often assessment is by outcome, and it is not formative, and it is not built into the learning as it goes through. And also the rotations, quite often because they're taught by different teachers, there's no continuity. There's no continuity of learning through that Key Stage 3 timetable. And the last problem we've got is, because the subject is being squeezed, we have got a increasingly reduced amount of time at Key Stage 3 in order to teach it. And I've heard some schools have got as little as 40 minutes, or they've got a period of time for 6 weeks, but then the students don't see D&T for another term. So we have got problems, and I know those problems are real, and I know that in many schools there's nothing you can do about those problems other than lobby your senior management team. But from a senior management perspective, the question that's always going to be asked is, well, what's the return? What are we getting out of it? If we give you 2 hours instead of 40 minutes, what do we get back? And there's 2 bits that they'll want there. One is they'll want exam results, and the other bit that they will want students screaming to do this subject because it is helping them, it is assisting them, it's assisting maths teachers to teach maths better, it's assisting physics teachers to teach physics better. So what are we proposing? Well, we have undertaken, and we've already well on the way to producing a series of Key Stage 3 context-led problems. And we've gone out to companies and we've said, we want you to give us real problems that you're working on now, and we want your designers, your engineers to talk to us on video about the problems that they're working on and the intricacies of that problem. And then we will work with you in order to scale that so as an 11 to 14-year-old student can tackle that, and can tackle that as a context rather than as a brief. And we are working our way through those at the moment. They are time consuming to make because we've got to find the companies. We've got to find the companies that are willing to give us the time and the space to work with us. We've then got to produce the resources, and we know that you're pushed for time. So this has got to be an entire package, complete with video, complete with supporting materials, complete with assessment, everything else. And we're aiming to produce 20 of those by September if we can, and then 30 by the end of the year, with different companies involved all the way through, and working through a range of different contexts set in different areas where the outcomes are likely to be very, very different. The other bits we are proposing for Key Stage 3 is sustainability, net zero, and the need for a circular economy and an understanding of a circular economy has got to be given prominence in teacher training and in study at Key Stage 3. Now, again, I know many schools out there are doing this already, but we need to make sure it's built into the curriculum offer, that it is built into the national curriculum, and that this isn't an option, a nice to have, or something that we can add in. This is an essential part of any project that is being taught within a school. And same as every designer we talk to, the first question they ask themselves is, at the end of useful life, what is the end goal for this product? If it is going to end up in landfill, then actually let's look at the brief again. Let's look at how we can tackle this differently. And we want students to concentrate on identifying problems, researching, experimenting, iterating, testing potential solutions before designing a prototype to a problem. We want human skills to be developed alongside subject knowledge and skills, and actual workshop skills. So human skills are equally as important. What do I mean by human skills? I mean the ability to solve problems, the ability to communicate, the ability to stand up in front of an audience and present, an unfamiliar audience and present, the ability to work as part of a team, the ability to take the initiative. All of those things are really important in life, and they should be really important parts of our Key Stage 3 curriculum offer.